Hello, everyone. This is Inside the Americas. Let's take a look at what's coming up in today's show. Hillary Clinton almost fainted at a 9/11 memorial this week, but her admission only afterwards that she was suffering from pneumonia has critics once again doubting her honesty. Cholera in Haiti has touched close to 800,000 people over the past 6 years. It's the world's worst epidemic of the disease in recent history, and the UN is partly to blame. And you'll meet the Mohawk Girls, Canada's version of Sex and the City set in its First Nations communities. I'm Jeannie Gladula. Well, new revelations about Hillary Clinton's health have raised more doubts about the Democratic nominee's honesty and trustworthiness. She blamed her abrupt departure from a 9/11 memorial on the heat, but she was later forced to admit she'd been diagnosed with pneumonia. It's not the first time Clinton has been hesitant with the truth. France 24's Clément Bonnereau takes a closer look now at Clinton's alleged lack of transparency.
How are you feeling, Secretary Clinton?
Great.
It's set to become a key campaign issue, Hillary Clinton's health and her lack of transparency about it. The Democratic presidential nominee was forced to admit she'd been diagnosed with pneumonia after she left a 9/11 memorial early. Video footage shows her struggling to maintain her balance before being carried into a van by Secret Service agents. Clinton first said she'd suffered from overheating and dehydration, but her team decided to go public with the diagnosis a few hours later.
Everybody gets heat stroke, but we'll never know what the true reason is.
I truly think that she didn't get sick from the heat. It's not that hot today. I think she has a medical problem that is being hid from the public.
If she had told the truth about having pneumonia earlier, Clinton could have legitimately sat out the event, but she decided to keep it a secret.
She has this long history of people not being able to trust her, this feeling that, she's holding information back. And I think as the election is still pretty tight and Donald Trump has been advancing in the latest polls, that she's going to be in a position where she's going to be forced to either disclose more information or this cloud of doubt is just going to increase, I think.
Clinton has a habit of keeping things to herself. She's been called a pathological liar by Republican rival Donald Trump, and she has indeed lacked transparency or lied on several occasions. Her use of a private email server during her time as Secretary of State has been a major issue throughout the campaign. She was forced to turn over all work-related emails to the US State Department, but the FBI later found that she had deleted several thousand emails from her server.
Looking back, it would have been better if I'd simply used a second email account and carried a second phone, but at the time, this didn't seem like an issue.
In 2008, Hillary Clinton claimed she had landed under sniper fire in Bosnia while visiting the country as First Lady, only to be proven wrong by video footage a few weeks later.
I made a mistake, and I had a different memory, and my my staff and others have all kind of come together trying to sort out. So I made a mistake. That happens. It proves I'm human.
When the media revealed her husband's affair with Monica Lewinsky, Hillary Clinton denied all allegations and cited instead a vast right-wing conspiracy.
I did not have sexual...
She's long accused Republicans and the right-wing media of trying to destroy her political career, but not all Americans are convinced. According to polls, nearly 60% of US voters say they don't trust Hillary Clinton.
Clinton's opponent, meanwhile, Donald Trump, is continuing his campaign. And if you know one thing about his proposals, it's probably that giant wall he says he wants to build between the U.S. and Mexico. But a smaller wall actually already exists on the border, and this week authorities reinforced that, replacing 2 kilometers or about a mile of wire mesh by an iron wall on the border of New Mexico. We decided to take a look at just how well that wall has been working.
A black line cutting through the Arizona desert. This is the iron fence that separated the USA from Mexico since 2008. It's not far off Donald Trump's dreams of a Great Wall, but he wants to make it taller and longer.
It slows down people coming through. And in order for us to detect them, to be able to make the arrest.
But migrants are determined. Some simply clamber over. Drug cartels in particular will stop at nothing to smuggle in their wares.
This is the 3 layers of fencing that we have along the city here, the city of San Luis, Mexico, and San Luis, Arizona.
It's a sophisticated setup, stretching out for tens of kilometers, but it's hard to ignore a crucial absurdity. Follow the fence, and you'll reach its end. Authorities decided it wasn't worth constructing the barrier on a mountain. Tim Foley lives 15 minutes from the border. A former soldier, he now works alongside immigration services. He often hides cameras in trees to build a bigger picture of how smuggling networks operate.
This guy right here, he shows up about every 3 days on this trail. This guy is up and down the trail all the time. As soon as I pull the cameras and I get anything off of them, I start putting the word out.
Donald Trump's pledge to build a reinforced wall along the entire border has earned him many fans. But the terrain is unforgiving and vast, with most borderland privately owned. If Trump is elected president, his Great Wall promise may be harder to implement than he thinks.
Close to 100 cholera victims protested in Haiti this week, demanding the government obtain damages from the UN. The UN has already admitted its peacekeepers played a role in the cholera outbreak 6 years ago that has since left close to 10,000 dead. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has vowed to step up efforts to eradicate the disease, but on the ground, medical teams worry about the lack of funding and equipment.
Battling the epidemic, cholera treatment centres like this one have sprung up in the Haitian capital. New patients come in every day, but room is limited.
There are 6 patients here. We can't take any more, and that's why they aren't sending other patients.
Haiti is struggling to contain the outbreak. International funding has halved despite a UN appeal aimed at eradicating the disease 4 years ago. This has led to a reduction in prevention and treatment services. As a result, 500 people are infected every week, and this year alone, 25,000 new cases have been reported, a 22% rise from last year.
Cholera cases have risen dramatically since last year. In October and November, we will enter the rainy season. If we don't put in place a strategy now, the number of cases will increase even more.
Haiti was free of cholera until 2010, when UN peacekeepers allegedly dumped infected sewage into a river. Since then, more than 9,000 people have died of the disease and 800,000 have fallen ill. Once cholera enters the water supply, it is difficult to stop it from spreading, especially in a country like Haiti, where there is no sewage disposal system. The UN repeatedly denied responsibility until last month.
The Secretary General deeply regrets the terrible suffering the people of Haiti have endured as a result of the cholera epidemic. The United Nations has a moral responsibility to the victims of the cholera epidemic and for supporting Haiti.
UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has vowed a new approach, due to be unveiled in October, to raise more funds and eradicate the disease. But the UN has so far refused to compensate victims' families, saying it is protected by diplomatic immunity.
And finally now, let me introduce you to the Mohawk Girls. That TV show has been described as Canada's Sex and the City, except it's set in its First Nations communities. The show, broadcast on a native network, is now entering its 4th season, and its creators say they developed it in the hope of ending prejudice. Pierre Millet reports from Canada.
4 modern women and their lives in a Quebec reservation. For the past 3 years, Mohawk Girls has humorously talked about the daily lives of First Nations people.
How are we supposed to rebuild the Mohawk Nation if all the guys around here are cousins?
In this studio in Montreal, the editing of the 4th season is almost over. Today, they are focused on one scene in particular, the character of Anna.
She grew up in Manhattan. She didn't grow up on the res, and so when she comes home to the res, she is an outsider, and she's ostracized.
What's wrong with you people? You guys are like a colony of clones.
For the duo who created Mohawk Girls, their goal is to address contemporary issues of First Nations people.
Tracy is Mohawk, I am Jewish, and everything in the show, we make sure that both of our perspectives and our backgrounds and you know, we can relate to it, that like dating outside your group, and if you do, you know, is it just kind of following your heart, or is it going to lead to the disintegration of your people?
Mohawk Girls was shot in the Kanawaki Reservation, 40 minutes away from Montreal. This is where Tracy Deer grew up.
We often have visitors come here. I don't know if they expect us to all be walking around in buckskin with feathers and teepees, but that's not how we live in the modern world.
Creating a show about women in her community was important to her.
Please focus on the real problem here.
As a young Mohawk girl, I felt invisible in this country. I like to think that Mohawk Girls is contributing to our young kids not growing up that way. You know, you can turn on a TV now and you can see yourself represented, you can see our issues represented, you can laugh at the jokes.
Hey, Susie.
In this community of 8,000 members, the TV show is gathering more followers daily.
More and more people are reaching out. How can we be part of the show? I want to be an extra, you know, and because we all know each other, they reach out to me. You know, I mean, I'm one of the actors. So it's actually really awesome to be supported in this way.
The success of the show goes beyond the frontiers of the reservation. Last year, Mohawk Girls was nominated for 3 Canadian TV awards.
Well, that's all the time we have for this Inside the Americas. We'll see you again next week for all the news from north to south.